Everybody out there in podcast land, this is the G-Man in the Matterhorn studio with the beautiful Kel. How you doing today, Kel?
I am doing great. Little behind the eight ball with time, of course, but
yeah, you know,
than that,
I sometimes am used to that, you know.
I forget that I'm not on the radio anymore, and we don't have the top of the hour 5-minute news break. That was my buffer.
Oh yeah, you forget.
Okay. It's muscle memory. I get in the car, I start out heading down here, and 13 years of doing the same thing every day for, you know.
You're pre-programmed.
My body just goes, okay, we're going on air.
It's a different gig. Well, and of course, I at least took a step towards getting into the video. Again, like YouTube, they got some qualifying thing that we have to do to get a number of shorts.
Oh, YouTube. I thought you said Facebook. Yeah.
I may have said
you
Facebook.
did. Facebook, we should be able to go live anytime. YouTube, yes, we have to have 1,000.
Well, he's just asking for 50 because my account, I've you know, it's like a new one.
We only need 50
not
people?
a new one.
50 subscribers?
50 shorts.
Oh, 50 shorts, yeah. But
so.
we need 1,000 subscribers.
And I already have 50 shorts, but you know, they're audio shorts, but still, you know, we'll start working on that. So today, Kel, episode 44. What's the matter with bullies? Did you remember that we were going to talk about this?
I didn't.
Okay,
I didn't.
cool.
I was thinking about it today, going, what is her?
Well, I love that. That's, you know, hey, life goes on during the week, and we're trying to just model that, hey, if you want to do a podcast, you could do it.
Absolutely.
You know, we have busy schedules.
Yep.
And I mean, our podcast is obviously a priority because according to the stats you brought me one time, 93% of existing podcasts or people that start a podcast, like the 93% don't even make it to the 20th, 21st.
Yeah.
You know, so
a lot of them don't make it past the 5th episode.
You know, thank you for that commitment, having fun. So what bullying is and what it isn't, right? So to kind of start the hook of the show, now in our lives, right? Everybody has been mean.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But not everybody is a bully.
Absolutely.
So on this episode, that's what we're going to do. We're going to separate just a bad moment from an actual harmful person. Okay? It'll be fun.
Sounds good.
And I have a way to make fun of things too.
Okay.
So you know how we are.
Yes.
So first and foremost, let's give a quick shout out to the sponsor of the show, World Matters Incorporated, and the creator and producer, Big Bongo Productions, as we move forward. So we normally define what it is that we're talking about, Kel. And so a simple definition of bullying, right? And you'll appreciate this kind of as just a human. We've seen the school playground stuff, but bullying is repeated harm, right? Mm-hmm. That typically has some sort of power imbalance. Mm-hmm. And there is an intent, you know, or sometimes a reckless disregard for the other person, you know, as it relates to bullying, right? So simple definition, bullying is a repeated harm where there's a power imbalance, I should say, that's present. And there's an intent, you know, from the bullying standpoint and sometimes just reckless disregards. In other words, it's not just physical, right? There's social.
No, not at all.
Verbal,
not at all.
Verbal.
Yeah. A lot of times, I think a lot of that point gets missed because people automatically think of the playground jerk, you know, Dennis the Menace type, you know, wanting to beat people up physically, always, you know, and that's absolutely, that's one of the lower, I think.
It is, but it happens. You can't go through school without.
Oh, not at all.
We're going to uncover some of these things that you may not think about. But again, so it's not just physical. That's the point. Social bullying, verbal bullying, psychological, digital, things like that. And then the power imbalance, right? Mm-hmm. It can be a person's size. It can be their popularity in school. It could be authority that they have.
Could be money, could be brains, could be
money. I got
skills.
That.
I mean, there's any
social
number of ways
leverage
that people can have power over
How about
others.
this for bullying? Anonymity online.
Oh, no question. Keyboard commandoism? Hell yeah. I mean?
So, we'll be talking about that. So, and then bullying often hides, and we talked about this, right? A little bit, one of these. Sometimes bullying, I probably do this a little bit, if I was honest with myself. I hide behind, I'm just joking type of thing.
Oh, sure.
And so I'm just telling the truth. That type of thing,
right?
I'm just honest. Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah.
So,
but there's ways to do that without bullying someone.
Right.
There's ways to tell someone a hard truth or give them hard information without bullying.
And I just again wanted to kind of model owning it.
Absolutely.
And so it's, as I put this information together, sometimes there's these self-realizations.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to just be, again, throwing
This is all about
stones at
everybody
people.
else. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think we all do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't help it. It's
Yeah.
just, that's part of being a human.
So that's what we want to do. So let's talk first. Let's see, here we are. We're about perfect. Okay. I wanted to, get right about here. So let's talk about what bullying is not. Okay. Because we're going to talk about what it is, but let's kind of talk about what it is not. So what it is not is, first of all, remember the power dynamic. There's no power imbalance. So you got two people that kind of have equal power or equal footing, and it's a one-off conflict, right?
Right.
No matter how, say, like extreme it may get, as long as somebody's not hitting anybody or, getting crazy, you can get excited. Have you ever been in like a really animated, excited, and you weren't mad, you weren't angry, you were passionate, right? And it wasn't somebody that had power. There wasn't going to be any kind of sense of loss, right? And so that's okay. That's not bullying.
No.
No.
Bullying is very direct,
and
it's a specific thing.
I was just thinking, like, if you're like going back and forth and just like, oh yeah, well, your mama, that's not really bullying. That's kind of breaking the tension, I think, if you did it the right way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Even if it's done the wrong way, it's a pattern interrupt.
You smile before,
Sure.
Just like, what? Your mama, so there's different ways that you can navigate it. And then another thing that bullying is not, and this is terrible out there, especially online, where any kind of point of contention or any disagreement, you're just getting attacked, just like a flurry of arrows, from, back in
a bunch
the day,
of bots.
I don't know what made me come up with that, but a healthy disagreement is not bullying.
No.
Sometimes people would feel that though, because mentally they get put in this corner where they don't have any response to their point of their position.
Sure.
And so sometimes, again, that's always interesting because it takes a maturity. It takes good self-esteem, for you to say, well, you know what? Damn it, I'm wrong. And some people go their whole life and they never learn.
They can't do it. My father couldn't.
Yeah.
My father couldn't do it. He blamed our cat once for breaking we had how you have the soap dispenser push button thing on the side of your sink. It was mangled. I mean, like it had a hole in it. It was bent.
Yeah.
Honest to God, my dad said the cat got her head up under there and did it.
Oh.
I laughed about that for years. He just couldn't admit to doing anything wrong.
Truthfully, it's kind of a good escape hatch, because just like if you start getting in trouble, just always blame the pussy. Man, we are starting
that was
off.
A good situational catch there. Great.
How about that? Okay, now what bullying is not also, right? What bullying is not is when you have boundaries.
Right.
Okay, you have boundaries and you say, you're being an idiot. I'm not going to do that. Okay, so that idiot remark, you're not bullying. You're setting boundaries.
Exactly.
There's different ways of doing it.
Bullying is an attack. It's a directed attack. It's
right.
not.
And we're definitely, so we're still defining what is not, right? The last one I have here is that what bullying is not, it is not consequences for behavior when it's handled fairly. Right. So if you're getting consequences, they're not bullying you.
Some people will devolve to that.
Yeah,
they'll say, "Oh, you're bullied. I'm being bullied at work."
If you're chronically late, and you've been counseled 3 times, and then you say, and the boss says, "Hey, man, I'm sorry to do this, but it's policy. I mean, we could fire you for this, but we're going to give you a week out on the street. You're not coming in. You're not getting paid for a week." Just like, well, this is a right to work state.
Right. That's actually generous.
That's what I'm saying. So in that case, just they're not bullying, right?
No.
So, we like spectrums. You're a star child and everything. And so let's talk about the bullying spectrum of what it is, right? So I want you, as we go through this episode, Cal, I want you to reflect. Of course, it's kind of natural with what we're doing here. As you said, there's different forms. We're old enough on our journey to have experienced bullying. And as we pointed out, there's times where we say, okay, it's kind of a bully there. I mean, that kid was only 5 years old and I took his ice cream. No, it was my kid.
It's okay.
But so on the bullying spectrum, there are overt. That's the first one. I got 4 of them here, I think. So the first one is overt, right? These are threats, intimidation. Just like everybody can see that you are just way overboard, with this person. Threatening.
Like you steal the same kid's lunch every day. or push them down on the, push them down on
Yeah.
the playground every, as soon as you go outside.
Yeah.
First thing you do is go after little Johnny and dump him down again.
And it can be something that when you're 7 years old, it's something that you can see when you're 24 years old. Some you can see when you're 80 years old. As a matter of fact, I think when you're 80 years old, you actually have a card that makes it legal for you to bully. It should be.
Get off my lawn.
I'm forecasting. Maybe we can make a law out of it. So, but anyway, so overt bullying spectrum, threats, intimidation, humiliation. And kind of like I was thinking, like, who's my first bully that I remember? I think it was Bluto.
Mine was my parents.
I think it was Bluto on Popeye.
To see it? Oh, sure.
Yeah, because just like, kind of like as a little kid, you're like, that guy's a dick. Always hitting on Popeye's girlfriend.
Yeah, he really is.
And, picking on him and stuff like that. But at least they did a good job of programming that to us.
Bugs Bunny.
Bugs Bunny.
Because that was kind of my first
bully. You mentioned Daffy Duck. We were talking about that 4 weeks ago.
And then, of course, there's the Roadrunner. Roadrunner's the ultimate bully.
The Roadrunner's hilarious.
Even though you think it's the other, you think it's the coyote. Yeah. Because he keeps trying.
I think it's like the bully, though, because I guess in a way you're toying, with it, And then the beep, 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 beep. That was like, you could fill in the blanks. 2 words. So, okay, so now that's overt. So covert bullying is like, imagine. So this is where things that like it's under the radar, the definition of covert, right? It's not right in front of everybody. It's under the radar. And so these are things like, I think of the movie Mean Girls. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen it. Man, you need to.
I haven't. I know what it's about, but I haven't actually seen
in there.
It. Yeah.
Rachel McAdams, oh my God, she's on my hall pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife knows it'll never happen, but you know how that works. Oh my God, that would be amazing if I could actually somehow.
Her and your wife?
Well, I would definitely sign up for that. That's up to her. But anyway, the exclusion. So back to Mean Girls, it's kind of like if you said just like, hey, I don't want to invite Rachel to this. We're having a sleepover. Yeah. I know she's your friend, but I don't like her. I don't like her. So that's exclusion. That's kind of a bullying, even though Rachel may not know. Bullying is if Rachel's friend then after having the sleepover then goes to her and say, hey, just so you know, I wanted you to go, but Amanda said that I couldn't invite you. And now in the back room, you've got this little war going between them. So I'm telling you, always blame it on the pussy. There we are again. That may be the theme of the show today. Okay, so now other covert ways, right, is rumors. Rumors.
With narcissists.
I try to think back and I was just like, did I consciously start a rumor? Or I was probably inadvertently part of a rumor.
Sure.
Or maybe have
Party
been
too.
complicit with spreading a rumor.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was true, but
I've never started one intentionally.
Where you
I knew it was
wasn't
wrong.
true.
Exactly. I can't. You know me. I'm a total.
No, I did. Actually, now that I think about it, I did that in college.
Oh no, I've never.
I started a rumor that wasn't true when I told this one date that I was an amazing lover.
Oh, got to be kidding me!
What is in the water today? I don't know what's going on.
That was a pipe dream.
No pun intended.
Nailing it today.
Oh, gracious. Okay, so another part of covert bullying is again, we've been kind of hitting on it, manipulations of different forms, especially if it causes somebody else harm, right? Because there's different forms of manipulation, of course, but once it starts hurting people. Now, what about this last one? What do you think about this term? A covert form of bullying is nice nasty.
Oh, absolutely.
So tell our listeners what that is. I was just like, that caught my attention.
Where you're like saccharine sweet to somebody's face,
right?
And you stab them in the back behind their back.
Oh, so it's a back and forth.
It's like, like somebody comes in the room, like you were just talking about somebody negatively. They walk in the room, you're like, hey, Susie, how you doing? You look great. So good to see you. Yeah. And then she walks away and you're like, yeah, I hate that bitch.
That's like fake stuff.
Yep.
All right. Now, other forms of bullying that we'll talk about, institutional, right? This is where unfair rules we talked about this as far when Diaz came up with the values, and we talked about how unfair rules are selectively enforced. There's favoritism, scapegoating, things like that. And so digital, so we got doxing, anonymous harassment. We talked about, quote, quoting things kind of like from a mod. There's like a piling on thing. You know, if you could get on one thread and like everybody's of a one disposition, and then it's just like random strangers again just start piling on.
Yeah.
Now, what do you know what this means on digital? I know what it means in relative terms as far as like wrestling and playing around as kids and stuff like that. But what is dogpiling from a digital standpoint?
Dogpiling from a digital standpoint is you're in a somebody posted something, you commented, and dogpiling is when you get like 65 people all bashing you about your comment and agreeing with each other against you. That's dogpiling. In any situation, anytime that happens, it's when one starts it and then everybody else jumps in to back that person against the initial whatever. So
now let me ask you this, because I knew that we were going to probably, like share some personal stories of things that may have happened, or we may have something that jars our memory, just the way it goes sometimes. So I'll start first with you. What's your first, I said Bluto, but that's a cartoon. Yeah. So real life, besides relatives and things like that, what's
besides
the first?
Okay, I was going to say my parents. My first bullies.
Yeah.
Easy.
No, of course, and that makes sense too, right? Because fear-based parenting and
no,
stuff.
I don't, and that's not what I'm talking about. They body shamed me. They were both grossly overweight. They brain shamed me.
That's psychological torture, right? And so, instead of like deferring to that.
I see what you're saying.
Instead of deferring to that.
Okay,
that's,
like real,
yeah, I want you to go deeper, because that's an often default, kind of thing when we get into these types of things. So go outside of your house.
His name was John Moyer. Okay. I was 6 years old, and I was the first stop for the bus. I got picked up first.
How cool. I mean, you're the first one. You get the seat that you want.
That's it.
Yeah.
I went to the back. I went to the way back. Evidently, I was not allowed.
To go to the back.
I sat in the very back seat. That was where the cool boys sat.
Oh.
I didn't know this.
Well, that's true.
This is my first day in first grade. What the fuck do I know?
Yeah.
So I sit in the back, and I had a paper bag with me for show and tell. I had this rock in there. It was a beach rock that one of my mom's students had given me. I called it a speckle rock because it was black, white, and orange dots on it. And I sat in the back seat. Moyer comes back there, goes to sit where I am, and starts bitching at me.
How old is he?
He was I was
grade?
first grade. Yeah, I think he was third grade. I think he was two or three grades
and
ahead
that's
of me.
huge.
He was a big kid too.
That's huge.
He was big.
You're in first grade for sure.
And so he tells me I can't sit there. I basically said "fuck you" without not exactly in those terms at that point. But
you can't tell me where to sit.
Yeah, I basically was like no, and he sat in front of me grudgingly and kept like turning around saying shit to me. So he turned back around facing the front of the bus. I took the rock out of the bag and tapped him on the back of the head. I didn't hit him or any. I just went tap, tap.
You're a bad bitch.
He turned around and beat the shit out of me.
Oh no.
The ever-loving shit out of me.
Well, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
Like while the bus is moving and what'd the bus driver do?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing. I'm not sure she even saw it.
And it was a she?
Yes.
What the heck, Cal? So did you tell anybody?
Nope.
You weren't ratting?
Didn't say a word.
Wow.
I kept my mouth shut, put my head down, walked out off the bus. It was right just as we were getting up to the school. Oh. Walked off the bus, never said another word about it, never spoke to that kid again. And I sat in the front of the bus every day after that for the rest of the time I was in school.
Well, because if you did tell on him, you know the drill.
It would have been worse.
Yeah,
and he lived near me.
The bus driver would have spread this around.
Smell a rat.
I mean, just like that. That's the way it happens.
Yeah. So I learned quick.
Okay, and that was first grade. Okay, so let's hop to middle school, junior high. Okay, puberty age. Now, what's your first memory? Where is John Moyer? Did he reach his demise?
I don't know. What
his name's real close to John Mayer. Maybe he just changed the vowel and became that famous rock star.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Is he kind of quirky?
No, he was just a dick. He was just a dick.
John Mayer.
So I,
so
in junior high, this was the whole...
Because there's different levels. That's why I'm doing this.
Class, like everybody, but including the teachers, got in on this one. My mother made me get all of my hair cut off and permed. I had hair down to my waist.
So you're what, 6th, 7th, or 8th grade?
6th grade.
6th grade. She gets all of your hair cut off?
I got a knot in the back of it, and she couldn't get it out.
Oh.
And she said, "That's it. No more. We're going." Her best friend was a hairdresser.
How can you not get a knot out eventually? Like water, just
because she didn't feel like dealing with it.
Yeah.
And she did this like with the brush, like trying to crew it.
You've had
I'm
some like mommy dearest shit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah. And I'm like, ow, 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 and she's like, it hurts to be beautiful.
Well, that's true.
That's what she would tell me.
So not the first time I've heard that.
And so I got all the hair cut off and permed over the weekend. Monday, went in school, and when
you say cut off, are you you're not talking
off
like
all the way,
just a little bob,
short,
right, just past your neck,
old lady perm, and I
did you cry?
Oh, you have no idea. And I used to dress. She would make me dress up to go to school, and I wore these pantsuits. These hideous polyester pantsuits.
Back in the Virginia Slims days?
It was just dreadful. And my English teacher or my reading teacher had the same suit. And I wore it the same day she did. I happened to wear it that Monday. She had worn it that day. And the kids saw me, freaked out over my hair. The reading teacher and the English teacher were best friends. They said, oh my God, come here. Let's take you into Mrs. Lowe's room. We're going to sit you at the desk and we're going to bring Mrs. M. Bessie in and she's going to think it's Mrs. Lowe. We did.
That's like
I sat at Mrs. Lowe's desk.
Prank.
Yeah. I sat at Mrs. Lowe's desk. I was turned kind of this way. And the kids had like run to Sue and Bessie's room and was like, Mrs. and Bessie, you got to come to Mrs. Lowe's room. And she's thinking something's wrong. So she's like hurrying up. She's like, Mitzi, what's wrong? Her name is Mitzi Lowe. Yeah. Mitzi, what's wrong? And I turned around and she was like, and all the kids just hooted. It was just the biggest joke.
So how was that bullying though?
They were making fun of me because I looked like the goddamn teacher. She was in her 60s.
So they're making fun of you, and then you like turned it around. And played.
I just played along.
Yeah, you played along.
Yeah.
Like, did you feel bullied?
Of course I did.
You did.
Of course I did. I was humiliated.
So that was definitely a peer pressure where you felt compelled to just go along because it's already like so embarrassing.
Was already, the momentum.
And if I said no, it would only be worse.
It would so much worse.
Gotcha.
So much worse.
Now I don't want to be, you coming with getting any kind of trauma from us talking through this.
Okay. Oh no! It's just I'm just like rolling my.
Go to
I'm
high
feeling
school
how
now.
I felt back then. Like that. I'll so it burned in my mind.
This is good though.
Oh,
because like now you again. So now let's go to high school. Dreaded high school, and you've went to college, but of course it's
I went to community college.
Yeah,
it was
totally
and that's where I broke free from all of that.
Yeah,
and even though some of the kids I had gone to high school with went to. We called it 13th grade, Buck U.
Yeah.
It was Bucks County Community College.
Oh, that's funny.
University of Bucks County, University of Bucks County at Newtown, Buck U.
so in high school, so let's do an anchor. Let's do a point of reference. Okay. So because I can do
I
this.
Was fat, so I got bullied for being fat.
No. I'm talking about first. So you had mentioned with the movies that you saw Back to the Future. So you have a point of reference. Okay, so think about Biff. Wasn't that his name? Biff,
yes,
right?
Biff.
So in your school, who was there a Biff?
Oh.
Did you have a Biff? Who was kind of like the
I went
the
to
jock
school with, not really.
Around.
I went to high school with 3,000 kids. So there wasn't any just one dude. You know what I mean?
But nobody stands out.
Nah.
Okay.
Nah.
Okay.
There were some jerks, but we didn't have there were too many kids and too many teachers to really get away with direct,
where I grew
bullying.
up, it seemed that there were some, but they eventually always found their match. And the whole goal was with some of them, because, you're not the toughest guy, but you know how to take care of yourself. And you know that if you run from a fight and your parents find out about it, your ass whipping that you have as compared to what you would have got by facing that bully pales in comparison.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's kind of where I was. But you want to kind of at least let the bully know that they could kick your ass, but it ain't going to be fun. And you never know. May come up with some trick or something like that would embarrass you in front of the whole school. So It's not worth the risk.
Bullying was, like high school bullying was where I basically learned, if you fuck with me, I fuck back.
Yeah, that's basically it, is that, I was taught again that you don't start a fight.
But you finish it.
That, and never hit a girl.
Right.
And of course, now there are those times where when I was taught, when we say don't start a fight, we're not saying you're not going to be the one to throw the first punch. What I mean by that is that when it's obviously inevitable, or if something's happening before you even throw the first punch or whatever, you're not starting a fight, you're taking care of business.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So you don't.
Right. Throwing the first punch doesn't necessarily mean starting the fight.
Starting a fight,
starting a fight can be an argument. It can be an insult. It can be stealing something. It can be breaking something. I mean, anything can start a fight.
There's a lot of, like, growing up, as I think about it, there's like little pressures that you have, even if you have a girlfriend and somebody insults your girlfriend. If you don't take care of business, then your girlfriend says, hey, you didn't take care of the pussy.
Hey, buddy, you didn't pet the pussy.
That's 3 times.
Yeah, this is really good. You're finding all these ins. That's hilarious. I never expect anybody to stand up for me, though. I can handle myself.
You can. Yeah, but it's always good, to have another good teammate. I actually have, I have something that later on when we do, I think, so yeah, let's do that. So we've been taking care of some serious, types of things here. So let's kind of lighten it up a little bit. So, there it is. Laughing crickets. It's time for that again. And we're talking about bullies today. Got to get this thing set up. Got the cue up, the music. Bullies. Laughing crickets. All right, let's start. Let's start with a simple little riddle. What do you call a kid? When I'm saying kid, I'm talking about anywhere from 8 to 14. Okay. Now, what do you call a kid who actually stands up to bullies? What do you call that kid? You call him an ambulance. It doesn't normally end well, at least not the first time. You normally get the beat down, and then you turn into the Karate Kid. You got to have some motivation, So you got your ass kicked, huh, son? How'd that feel? It didn't feel very good. Well, let's make sure it doesn't happen again. This is a knife. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know where that came from, but we're talking about school bullying, right? So this next one, I have to make sure I know. Where is it? There it is. Okay. All right. So this son is talking to his dad about being bullied at school. The son is talking to his dad. He's being bullied at school. So the son says, Dad, the bullies at school stole my lunch money again. And the dad says, did you tell anyone? And the son says, yes. They just said things like, be strong, stop crying, and you're such a useless teacher.
I hate to laugh at that.
Oh my gosh.
That was cute. That's,
probably,
yeah.
Another.
Teachers being bullied is definitely a thing, and I don't like it.
I should have.
I saw some horrendous videos of poor teachers. Literally, Did I tell you about that? This woman banging her head against the wall.
No, because we're laughing right now.
Yeah,
we can't do serious stuff. We've done enough serious stuff. We're gonna do serious stuff again. We got to get through this. So back to bullies. So one day, Cal, this bunch of bullies, high school. And I'm telling a personal story now. Bunch of bullies in high school. They came and they duct taped me to the wall.
Uh-oh.
I know. But I had a really good friend that was with me at the time who tried to stop him. After the bullies finished with him, I appreciated how he was stuck by my side.
Wait, what?
See? You missed one word with me. I thought that was
your best.
I thought it was good.
That's
I know.
Cute.
Well, let's end it with a little bit longer one. This is little Timmy. Okay, I think I'm okay on the time. Yes, little Timmy. Little Timmy's a bright young boy. A bright young boy. And he was fairly handsome. I mean, as far as kids go, I guess. The only problem was that when he was born, he lost his eye. And not when he was born, I'm sorry. He was out fishing one day when he was younger. I got the story wrong. And his family was just too poor to afford a glass eye. So this poor kid, his grandfather, they're so poor, Cal, that his grandfather actually whittled him a wooden eye. I mean, it's better than nothing, right? Could you imagine just not having an eye, just having a socket, right? At least a wooden eye, you can kind of paint it, from time to time. You don't want to get paint in your eye, but maybe that's not a good idea. But I digress. But they couldn't afford this glass eye, so the grandfather whittled him a wooden one. And of course, we're talking about bullying today, right? So he was made fun of all through school for his eye. It destroyed his self-esteem, but he was tired of letting the world keep him down. So he was motivated. You know why? Because of pussy. The school dance was coming up, and he was going to be damned if he didn't let himself have a good time. So now you got the pretense of the story, right? Because Timothy had his eyes for this girl named Sally, and she was shy, lonely, just like him. And her shyness came because it was due to an extremely pronounced mustache that she had, right?
Yeah, okay.
And so she had a nickname too, right? Her nickname was Hair Lip. So you got the Timothy with the wooden eye, and we got Hair Lip over here, and he saw past her mustache. He thought she was beautiful, and most beautiful girl in school to him. And so he decided, I'm going to ask this girl out. So he waited until lunch one day, and he spots Sally over there eating a peanut butter sandwich. Now that alone in the corner of the restaurant with this mustache, I got to mention, that was a visual calamity right there. But again, I digress. So Timothy marches up to Sally, and he says, hey, I've been seeing you around for a while, and well, would you like to go to the dance with me? And then Sally's eyes lit up, just lit up. And she's like, would I? And then Timothy says, Hair Lip, and walks away.
That was a good one.
I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, we got through that.
That was cute.
Yeah, I missed one.
Yeah, that's all right.
I missed one. Okay, I remember that. I remember that I can't be telling Kel any jokes about sticky situations. All right, now, this next block. So the main matter, why bullying happens. Let's look at it. So we define what it is, what it's not, kind of categorize it a little bit, right? So some talking points with you. Why bullying happens, number one bullet point that I have is because of insecurity, status seeking, things like that. Talk about that, right? Insecurity, like bullying because of insecurity.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's where it really comes from. It comes from a feeling of deficit somewhere. That just the feeling of lack of power, lack of control.
And of course it's one, but I do remember I was about 24 in a child development course in California. And the teacher lecturer was talking about how we have to realize that whatever has happened before, who we were born into, our environment, how we were raised, and things like that, that doesn't have anything to do with from here on, right? We can draw this line and, take power from that point on and stop using what your story is or use it as a crutch.
No question.
Right?
No question.
So she explained that when you were young, right, and as you move on, when somebody was bullying you, it was because they didn't feel good about themselves.
Yes.
Or they were trained that when you don't get your way, you become physical.
Right.
Those kind of dynamics, right? And I used to think, and then I have many times when somebody was dealing with a bully, I gave them the advice of being able to have that perspective. It's just like, this isn't anything that they're necessarily doing, to you, because you're not a bad person. You don't deserve this or anything like that. This is a reflection of how they feel on the inside.
Absolutely.
And however difficult that is, and I have said this, imagine this, like you're getting bullied, right? Let's say you got bullied 2 times. So third day, hey, where's your lunch money? Just like, hey, I'm not going to give you my lunch money. If you want to beat me up again, go ahead. Because I found out that the reason that you keep beating me up is because you don't feel good about yourself. And, and I don't want to be part of that. I'm not going to hit you back or anything like that. I want to help you. Like any way that I can help you, even if it's just being a punching bag. Now that's extreme.
Yeah.
That's an extreme example. And that would take a very special person in order to be able to understand and do that, depending on your age. But once we're adults, and let's say we don't have to really worry about the physical, being attacked physical, that kind of
illegal.
thinking, right? Exactly. That kind of thinking goes a long way, where you could appropriately confront them, saying, and just like, hey man, I'm feeling a little bullied here. Point out, hey, there's a power imbalance. This is why I feel this way. And
just shine light on the
you're just like,
situation.
I'm not going to, I could go to Brad and I could complain. You know, he's married to my wife. I could go to him. I could throw you under the bus, but I'm just letting you know there's something going on and I want to help you work with it. What's going on? Why are you doing this? Anyway, not an exact science.
No,
right?
it's not. And you can't really do it in the moment when they're adrenalized.
Not often, yeah.
It's hard. You just kind of let the situation.
Yeah. We talked about filters, folks.
Yeah, yeah. But afterwards, when everybody's
heartfelt discussion,
calms back down,
decompressed.
If it's somebody or somebody maybe you work with them or go to school, whatever, or somebody in the neighborhood, then pull them aside and say, look, we had our little incident the other day, and here's how I feel about it, whatever.
And if I wouldn't be talking to you if I hadn't listened to What's the Matter podcast. Right. And so next one, talking point, why bullying happens is, again, pointed out, right? They're modeling. They learned it from their parents. One excellent one is poor emotional regulation.
Yes.
Because you think about that, it's like, okay, so what is that an example? And then you say poor emotional regulation. So a lot of times, I think what it's saying is that the reason that you may be bullying is because you kind of open the door, or those boundaries aren't there.
Right.
You don't know how to appropriately handle it and things like that. And that's poor emotional regulation. I'm not angry, but I know a lot of people would be. And so I want to use the fact that I'm not angry to discuss this with you, because if you do it again with somebody else, who knows? What it could cost you.
Right.
And I like you. Boom. There's what a good little bridge that is.
And in a lot of cases, if you have the courage and the ability to do that for somebody that's in a bullying energy, a lot of times you'll break them. You'll break them on the spot. Like they'll just break down because nobody has seen them.
Well, I would say that
nobody has tried.
Is more likely in person.
Right.
Whereas the next one that I'm bringing up is bullying. Why it happens is due to social rewards like laughs, little emojis, likes, approval online.
Oh gosh, that's a whole different ballgame.
Again, you're like something that you would never think about doing in real life because it's online. You got the keyboard warrior mentality going on. It's fun, for some people to be the trolls and cause people angst. And I have this one little meme where if a stranger gets a little bit, because again, I only post on my friends' stuff, and normally it's lighthearted stuff. I try not to get too serious on Facebook. There's plenty of people that do that, and I want somebody to be able to go on my wall and not be able to really identify anything that I may have a political slant towards.
Yeah, political now.
I want them to say, "Oh wow, this guy's he looks like he has a fun life. Oh, beautiful family. Oh, this looks like fun. Type of thing."
I try to do educational stuff, informational stuff.
But sometimes you do get attacked by strangers, right?
Not
sometimes,
often.
And so that social reward that they get, I have this meme where, because I'll have discourse, but once if they start calling names, using profanity and stuff like that, not that I can't, and maybe I've went there before, but it's very, very rare and isolated. But I will actually post this meme that has this lady on her deathbed and, just like, do you have any regrets, Grandma? And then the online thing says, yeah, I wish I would have argued more with strangers online.
Right.
And that's how I end the conversation.
That's good.
Good luck. Have a good life. That's my out. Yep. Okay. So why bullying happens a little bit more. So we just talked about social rewards, especially on social media. Why bullying happens is because of some displaced anger. Now, Heartman would love to talk about this, right? But as a life coach, you know what I'm talking about. And basically talk about how people do sometimes bully people because there's this displaced anger. Life hurts, right? There's bad things that have happened to them, and they feel compelled, not necessarily consciously, but subconsciously, they feel compelled to pass it along. And so they're mad. They know someone that happened in their life, and they just kind of can't let it go.
And I don't believe that that's so much that they're trying to pass on whatever it is.
No, I'm saying subconsciously.
It's that buildup of this cognitive dissonant energy within your body that forces you to go, I got to get rid of this somehow. And if you don't recognize that what's driving that, and that it may not even be yours.
Right.
It may not be how you actually feel. You're just reacting on somebody else's reaction, and it just kind of chains along.
Right.
But yeah.
And then a last one that I have here, I think it's kind of a hidden gem. Why bullying happens sometimes is because the person doing the bullying, and again, doesn't have to be physical, but certainly it applies, workplace, relationship, day at the beach. Sometimes you get bullied by a person because they've lived their life under a lack of consequences. They've been enabled.
Yeah.
Right. Don't get
narcissist. A lot of times.
I don't know if it's a greatest example, but like the thing about spankings, didn't like them when I was getting them, but they taught me cause and effect.
They work.
You know, they taught me risk versus reward. Man, I got some spankings, but I tell you what, I didn't get near as many spankings that I could have.
Right.
So,
right.
That helps you be a parent, you know, and that's why it's just like,
Absolutely.
oh my God, I'm turning into my parents.
I am all for corporal punishment.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not. I don't mean beating the shit out of your kid, but smacking, spanking on the butt.
I saw
enough to shock the,
I saw a video the other day. This father was whipping his kid, and it wasn't 3 swats and we're done. He's scrunching up his buttocks and he has to do the, oh my God, that hurts so bad dance. He can't stay bent over at the couch. It's, again, just a body. And I would put it about 10 swats. Probably about 10 swats.
What was the incident? What the kid do?
That was the whole thing. So he did something to where he was confronted on something. It was something like he took something that he shouldn't have taken, but the secondary crime was that he disrespected his mom. So, you know, the patriarch was standing up for the kingdom, setting a message that, hey, this is my job, is to protect her. Like you're my son, but that's not going to give you responsibility. Like you don't get a pass just because you came out of her pussy. I'm wondering right now if I'm going to edit this stuff out.
I think that was number 5.
But anyway, it reminded me, you know, as I watched that video, there's kind of a part of me. I never spanked my kids like that, even though I did get that. And my brother got it worse than I did often, and love that guy. Talk about sticking up for me. I got some crazy stories about that man. But you know, this kid, back to the video, I felt like the dad loved him. So even though this may have been overboard, you know, the kid, he had pants on, so he may have had some welts, but I don't think there could have been any kind of blood. If you ever are disciplining your kid and you need to check yourself. If there's any kind of blood, I mean, that should be a life-changing moment.
I would hope so.
Because there's a difference between disciplining your kid, including spanking. And that's where I guess that's my point as I watched this. You know, it's kind of like I was like, I don't know how to feel about this. And I would probably talk to that father, say, hey, I get it. I respect it. I said, you need to, he's never going to forget this. So moving forward, especially the kid was probably 8 to 10, somewhere around there. I would say 10 to 12, actually, 10 to 12, somewhere around there. So eventually you get to a point to where if your parents are only going to spank you, there are some things that you say, whip my ass now because I'm going to do it. Right? The things that hurt worse are not being able to go somewhere for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Having your car taken away from you.
I used to get grounded all the time.
That's actually more significant. So you have to change as a parent. So bullying. Oh, and you know what? I'd be remiss after that story if I didn't mention the fact that, sometimes, unfortunately, parents can be bullies.
Yep.
So now, you know, kind of, what do you think in a general sense? We've kind of hit on it a little bit, but what's your gut instinct? What does a bully get out of bullying? What do they get out of it? Mostly, if we had a graph, a chart, you know, this is 48.7. Bullies do it because this.
I would think it's release of that energy that they don't know where to direct. There's a frustration there. There's a lack. There's a fear.
Right.
And it's an attempt to regain some type of power or control where they feel they have none elsewhere.
I think you hit it. There's something missing. Yeah. How about this? So when somebody's bullying somebody, and again, all kinds of different ways, not always talking about the physical way, but why do bystanders join in?
I think I'm going to get a little scientific here. We have what are called mirror neurons. And I think that in those cases, they start getting activated when you're in, this is how energy works. This is, you know, it's a neurological, biological, physiological thing. And that person's lack triggers something in them that makes them feel the same way, and it entrains that energy and directs it at the target. And I think probably the real biological basis of that is the reticular activating system in mirror neurons. And it just creates this energy, this wave of energy. You know, when you've got this one person doing the thing, it can also go the other way. It can also cause a group to go against the bully. But it's the collective energy that gathers.
Yeah, those different dynamics. Like, because if you see, say, somebody that's, 16, and let's say he's beating down a 12-year-old or 10-year-old or whatever, and there's a lot of people around him, and that bully probably is in trouble, because people should be coming to the
aid of the younger one.
Aid of the younger one. And so why do some groups normalize cruelty? Is it the Lord of the Flies? You know,
yep.
The need
it's very primitive. It's primitives, it's subconscious, it's mostly central nervous system driven. When it gets down to that level, it gets very biological. Like you don't have the ability to ration or reason through once you hit a certain point.
Yeah.
Without intervention.
And sometimes I would imagine that what you expressed as far as the energy that needs to get out, same type of thing, right? There's people that are bullies and they get the energy out all the time, almost on a daily, where some people have that energy still and it's suppressed.
Right.
And then it explodes. Right.
That's where it becomes a problem.
And especially, I mean, I've heard stories over the years. So this one nice guy now, has a family, all that stuff. But back in the day, before he was married, had kids and stuff like that, him and a buddy of his would sometimes go out on ragers and get drunk. And they would random person throughout the night, and they would identify somebody that they would just go and kick his ass. For some reason, something, I mean, it was like
just random, some rando guy that like did nothing to them.
Kind of evil shit.
Oh, that's not bullying.
Like, I did not like hearing that.
That's beyond.
I did not laugh. I did not think it was funny. I was just like, really, bro? You like do that to like an innocent person? That's fucked up.
That's fucked up.
That's
psychopathy.
And
that's psychopathic.
I didn't hear anything from that point about it, and I'm not saying they did it all the time. They may have done it like 2 or 3 times, but this is when he was probably 28 at the time. Now he's like 40 something. Beautiful family.
So he was probably not the initiator. He was probably got caught up in because sometimes wanting to belong with his little group.
I know that their thing was what they would happen is after they picked somebody out, then there was a twosome. So they wouldn't jump him as a twosome, but one person would like sneak behind
Set him up.
Sneak behind him, get down on his hands and knees, and then the other person would start the fight by pushing him, and he would trip. And then if the guy came back and did anything at all, it was fight on. It was sick. It was like I did not like it at all. I mean, the only reason to bring
there's a name for that
is because we're talking about bullying this, so that's probably.
But that's beyond bullying.
Yeah, but again, I mean, don't get us started on worldwide bullying thing. But let's do this. Let's kind of break it down. We talk a little. There's a dichotomy of youth and adult bullying, right? So let's talk about that a little bit. So let's the young people first. So a lot of times they are bullying or being bullied because there's some sort of identity forming that's going on. We talk about peer pressure, there's peer status, and also something that is kind of, again, under the radar, Kel, is that youth, sometimes their impulse control is still developing. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Just like, so if you, again, I mean, there would be just so many examples, but it doesn't even have to be your parents. If you say, like, there was a jock at school, right? And you say, hey, that guy nobody messes with him. He gets in a fight. God, all the killer girls are always paying attention to him and stuff like that. I want to be like that. So you may not be able to even fight like that guy. You may not be able to be as tough and not even be able in the same class, but you want to be like him. And so in your own neighborhood, maybe with your own siblings and stuff like that, you adopt these kind of aggressive tendencies, and again, nothing consciously, just something that it's part of your world. and somebody that you kind of want to model and be like in a certain way, and you see what I'm saying? Just one example.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But the impulse control and the identity forming is what kind of triggered that thought. Also with youth and school, parents, coaches. Okay, adults set the tone. You can't get around that. When you're a kid, you're around adults.
Of course.
All the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you're around adults. So you know what another word for adults is, Cal? Role models.
Yes.
Every single one.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter who it is. It could be a stranger.
It's another word for humans, really.
Yeah. I mean, so the kids kind of course, are at a little disadvantage. So by the time they're adults, right now, we're still dealing with power games, but it's at work. Sometimes we deal with these power games with our little cliques.
Oh, it's horrible.
That we go through.
Oh, yeah.
Like as a musician, it was always fascinating.
Oh, God. Even in radio, for God's sake.
Oh.
The ego in radio is ridiculous.
Well, I mean, they make movies about stuff like that, right? But also bullying, you can kind of bully. There's, and I can relate to this a little bit because reputation control's a good thing, whether you have a business and you don't want any kind of negative Google reviews and things like that. And, I don't like to talk about people unless I'm talking about them in a good way. But if somebody's out there talking about you, you don't want them talking about you in a bad way, right? You don't want it if you had to choose. So reputation control is definitely a factor. Professional bullying. Right, so I have this term here, and in parentheses, Kel, I have listed kind of like a quiet intimidation. Like again, so you're thinking workplace stuff, right? So there's quiet intimidation, certainly sabotage. We could talk. Well, I think we've talked a lot the last couple of years about sabotage, and of course, freezing people out from. It could be anything, Could be, the managers get together once a quarter, but only the top divisional managers, like your regular assistant managers, stuff like that. You guys don't get to go. Is that a way of bullying or exclusion?
It's exclusion.
Yeah.
It's exclusion. It's only bullying if it's being done maliciously with it. Like you're trying to cut them out of like knowing something about the company that could help them, or, turn other people against them or whatever. If it's just, we're going to exclude those guys and have us be this guy, that's not necessarily bullying. Could be, but not necessarily.
I tried to come up with all the obvious bullying that we've been talking about, but there's some nuanced ones too. And so as we go through the rest of this, if you think of something that's nuanced that we don't talk about, certainly bring it up. But some of the nuanced bullying examples that I have is, have you heard of the term tone?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is true. Again, I probably have, as I look at this, I use it or have used it sometimes, but like, again, one that, it's kind of a standing joke that if you're in an argument with your wife, the one thing that you don't say is, honey, calm down.
Oh, yeah.
Don't tell people to calm down. What about a way of bullying as weaponized incompetence to dump work on others?
Oh, God, yeah. Yep. Men do that too. They do that in relationships.
Well, that shouldn't. I mean, yeah. I mean, men and women would do that, right?
Women don't typically do that. Incompetence, yeah. Women don't usually do that. Men do that.
That's not true. Women do that.
Occasionally.
You could have like a smart woman, and like if she's just like, oh, this guy's used to dumb women, and she's just like, but I want to, I don't know, whatever. Maybe she likes him, and she just dumbs.
Weaponized incompetence for a woman would be like
workplace.
In the workplace. That's a little. I'm talking just like in general. Mm-hmm. Like in the workplace, it would be like tech, weaponized incompetence. People can do this, but this is where I would see it. Would be women using weaponized incompetence. Oh, I just don't know tech. I'm not into computers. I don't know how this works. Can you fix this for me? That kind of thing. That's about one area, like one main area that I can think of. Men do it with housework.
What about nuanced bullying as teasing that only goes in one direction? I mean, it's always like there's no.
It's not a banter. It's just you're constantly busting on your wife for this or that, or like
I can
that
make
one
jokes
thing.
about you,
yeah,
or making jokes about this certain person is tolerated,
right?
By say the company or whatever,
right?
You say something about them, and they find out.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh boy.
Yes. I've seen that too.
Yeah. So teasing that only goes in one direction. So
like one-way monogamy in the manosphere.
Now, we talked about your experiences being bullied from elementary school, junior high, high school. So let's kind of go past your separation from your boyfriend, right? So it's like from then until now. How do you deal, or has it happened? And if so, give us the story. And then how did you handle it?
What happened
in the last 20 years? Like anybody attempt to bull kill and suffer her wrath, or nothing comes to mind? Where your story now is you got bullied when you were younger, but now nobody
really fucks with me now. Not like that. Not like that. Not in like a just.
How can I bully?
Oh, can't hear you.
Oh, how I turn myself
like bullying me.
I turn myself off instead.
Like now, people are more subtle.
Yeah.
With stuff, it's not like bullying; it's undermining.
Yeah.
It's undermining.
Yeah, that's not the same thing.
Underestimating.
That's not the same thing.
No.
Yeah. What about somebody bullying that is? They're always like moving the goalpost for somebody, right? And so they always fail. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
They're always changing the rules, moving the goalposts, setting them up for failure, right? So those are another way that we can bully. Let's see. A public correction that's meant to humiliate. Now, I have to say, the reason that we don't talk about politics but I like when this happens to professional politicians where there's a public correction. I mean, it's, again, I look at that stuff. I don't get too serious about it, even though a lot of people do. And I always look at it as a form of entertainment, right? If I'm going to spend my time, watching people that really, at the end of the day, I think we all agree, like George Carlin says, they don't give a shit about us. It's a big club.
Right.
We ain't in it.
Yep.
Right. And so when I watch them, it's kind of like watching an episode of The Hunger Games, and no different than I watch The Family Guy or some other show, because they're shows. But I have to say, I do get a little bit when the people that are kind of hoity-toity, when they kind of get publicly called out into the square, I can't get enough of that. Adrienne, of course, has her new app called Citizenly that we were talking about today. So that's coming soon. It's again kind of like a government employee report card, based on their promises and stuff. So, but again, I digress. So public correction is a way that you can bully sometimes when it's meant to humiliate. Micro exclusions, we talked about that a little bit. When you're not invited to things, you're not informed, you're kind of out of the loop, or how about not being credited when you're due to have something? You've done something worthy of being credited, and people just sometimes don't
acknowledge it, gloss it over, ignore it, forget it, trash it. Absolutely.
Exactly. So, let's see. Let's move over to. I moved things around, so I don't know exactly where everything is. All right. So we are going into the lightning round now. So I want you to go rapid fire. Okay. So think about like we're going to be doing this next segment. We're going to be creating shorts, to put up on social media. So keep the thing short. I have some other stuff too, but I'm going to, I'll just wait for post-production on that. So bullying or not. So rapid fire scenarios here. Roasting a friend who clearly isn't laughing about it. Is that bullying or not? It's a roast.
No, I wouldn't think so. If it's continuous, if you're constantly roasting this person, then yes. But no, just a one-time.
Yeah.
No.
Like, you got to be able to take a joke around me.
I would think. Yeah.
And you would think as a friend.
If it's truly in jest.
Yeah. Exactly.
The
how are you
quote unquote.
How are you with sarcasm? Do you like sarcasm?
Oh yeah,
I love sarcasm.
We're Gen X, for fuck's sake. Are you kidding? We were raised on sarcasm.
I love sarcasm.
Absolutely.
I don't want to kick that habit. Okay, now bullying or not? I'm just kidding. After you cut them down,
it can be. It totally depends on how that's being used. If it's truly a joke, if whatever you're joking about isn't really true about the person,
you see the reaction and you're like, they don't think it's funny.
Yeah.
So from a damage control standpoint, if you're saying, hey, you're not laughing, so I was just kidding.
Yeah.
In a caring way.
Right. Like,
them.
seriously,
Just kidding.
I was just.
You can't just be flippant
Right.
when you're saying, "Nah, just calm down."
right.
You know, I'm just kidding.
kidding.
Yeah. Dude, don't be serious.
Right.
All right. Bullying or not, boss jokes about an employee in meetings. So you're with your boss. So you're obviously in a position of authority, or, you know, you're at least decision-making kind of position. And you are in there making jokes about an employee
subordinate?
in meetings.
No.
That is
Don't
not
do
cool.
that. Don't do that.
That's not cool.
Do not do that.
Yeah, that's not very ethical,
No.
professional.
Now, I will caveat this
Bad
with,
karma.
Yeah, I will caveat this with, if you're like a small startup, lean, mean, everybody, like, you know, there's 8 or 12 of you on the team, you know, at the whole company, and you have that kind of camaraderie, that's a little different. But if you're like
even,
in a real corporate environment, absolutely not.
Or you'll get in trouble.
You get
even.
trouble.
Or, you know, your example could fit with, like, a small family,
A restaurant, or
and the family is the one that's having their little meeting.
Sure,
and just
sure.
like, you know,
That's different. But, you know, I'm thinking like, think IBM, or, you know, any kind of corporate
yeah.
office.
Did you hear that Javier got chlamydia?
Yeah.
All right.
Did your Javier adopted a cat?
I got those. I know I'm already thinking about those sound effects. I think every time I mention it in the show, I have that. Meow. All right. So, bullying or not, rapid fire. Excluding someone from a group chat on purpose. Like, they have the right to be there, they should be there, but you exclude them on purpose.
Again,
is that bullying?
No.
Okay.
I would think that's subversion. That's something different. That's
exclusion.
That's exclusion.
Yeah.
That's subversion. That's
It still
trying
qualifies
to send a
as
message.
It still qualifies as mean.
It's mean,
you know, but it's not
not direct. No,
It's not a
bullying
bully.
has
Okay.
bullying is a different origin, and
Bullying or not, dogpiling in comments.
oh, absolutely,
That's bullying.
that can be
Okay.
absolutely that can be.
Okay. Bullying or not, constructive feedback delivered privately.
No, not
That's
at
not-
all.
that's
no,
not
that's what you
bullying.
that's what you should do.
That's what you
how
should
it
do.
should be done. You have something to say to somebody, you know, pull them aside. Don't call them out in public. You know, don't joke about it. Don't put them in the spotlight. Don't make others turn negative against them. Just go pull them aside. Give them the chance.
Exactly. Do it in a caring way.
Yeah,
And if you
absolutely.
don't care about them, just don't say
Just
anything.
don't say
then.
anything. Just
yeah,
let it go.
exactly. Hey, do you remember this? You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That's our original.
It's our original too.
Yeah. So I wanted to take a little bit of time for you to give Kathleen and Just in Time
Okay.
Tux a little shout out.
She's listening too.
company.
So is
What?
my friend Blanca Sanchez.
Hey,
Yes.
Kathleen.
Kathleen is listening,
Hi.
and we've got Blanca there too.
We had so
And
much fun with her last week.
it's so much fun.
It was fun
And we're-
editing that.
Was it? Now, I had a couple people tell me they had a hard time when they went to listen to the recording, that they couldn't really hear her.
And again,
Did you get that fixed in post?
Nope, because there's a little challenge. We'll talk to our guests
Okay.
about having just the right. It comes down to equipment.
Oh, okay.
So if she's on her phone, you know, versus a microphone, you know,
Oh, sure.
things like that.
Okay.
And so, but again, it just helps us learn. There's some equipment that you can actually get that, and I'll check into it more, like a monthly. But you know, we have to have a budget you know,
Okay.
for some of this stuff, and then those types of things. You know, but in the meantime,
Yeah.
just in time tux.
Just in time talk.
yeah.
We are kicking off prom season. I got my first prom boy, my first client, and it's going to be so cute. He's getting a white suit with yellow accents, yellow vest, pocket square, and bow tie to match his girlfriend's gorgeous yellow dress. Oh, they're going to look so cute. I love this time. I love prom season. This is so much fun.
Hey, you kids have fun, you know, and of course you guys are all young people and stuff like that. But I know that going to the prom is still about the pussy.
Both of my proms were so
all you
miserable.
dads out there, calm down. You know, it's a rumor, right? It's a rumor. It doesn't really happen.
Well, let me tell you about my proms. Jeez, my junior prom I got this date named Mike. He went with me, got all dressed up, the whole thing. Took me, you know, we showed up together.
Yeah.
And he left to go on a date with another girl.
What?
Left the prom to go on a date with somebody else.
Now that's a time manager.
And the second one, my senior prom.
Well, now he has a story that's lasted his whole lifetime.
I wonder what
You
happened
see
to
what I'm
him.
saying?
Yeah. He was kind of cute.
Yeah.
my second one, my senior prom, Jeff Stoltz. People called us Mutt and Jeff. He was like 5'4", I'm 5'10", and his brother was also his brother was a year older than me, but his girlfriend was in my class, so his brother got to go to my prom, and so he ended up spending the whole time with his brother. He hung out with.
That's cool. I mean.
No, it was miserable.
At least they were there, though.
He left me and hung out with his brother and his date instead.
Oh, well, that was a different... I got lost on that story. Sorry about that.
The proms were bad. Yeah. And I had such a bad haircut, too. Yeah. I had gotten a haircut the day before, and it was not good.
We should make a movie about you.
Seriously. It would be funny.
Yeah, everybody would love you by the end. Yeah, you got some good stories. Okay, so we're in block 3, so let's talk about... We try to... offer some tools, guardrails, for folks. And so the one thing that actually there's 4 here that I want to talk about is, Kel, you're an online bully, right? So you've told us stories about sometimes you laying into people that you don't even know. I'm just kidding.
I have.
I know you have.
I have.
But
not in a bullying way, not right. In an insulting them as a person or anything like that.
I know.
But I will go after things that people have said.
You know why? Knowing you, because you're intellectually engaged.
That's it. It's basically 100%. A fact correction.
100%. Yeah. I totally get that. Yeah. Right. And so to pretend, I want you to, as I go through these points, I want you to pretend like you're in a fervor.
Okay.
Right. So you're in an online bullying.
Okay.
Somebody deserves your wrath. Right. And so talk about how people with this type of power, they don't know you. So you have anonymity, and by a person having anonymity, that also equals them having reduced empathy.
Absolutely.
For the other person. Right? It's kind of like a frenzy, like the Tasmanian devil, I would imagine, when you get to that level. Am I right?
Yeah, and it is. It's like an energy buildup. The trigger starts, and then, if you don't neutralize the trigger at the time, it can get momentum with the energy. The more you... it makes you want to go, look for more stuff to go after.
Or so much like you could have been having fun in the beginning, but they kind of really get your goat. And by the time you played the game, you're mad at them. You're mad.
Yeah.
Yep. Right?
I've had that happen.
And does that qualify as a dopamine hit?
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. Right? It's all it doesn't matter the tone of the attention. Attention fires dopamine. So that's why negative attention, those negative attention kids that you went to school with, that any attention was good attention.
Yes.
Same.
Another note that I have here is the algorithm. This may be like Adrian would probably go crazy on this. Is the algorithm rewards outrage and conflict?
Absolutely.
Isn't that crazy?
I have started to get this. I have started to see very specific bot AI rage posts. Like I got sucked into one.
I heard
the other
about that.
This
not
was
even
insane.
Real people.
Not even real people. Yeah. Like I got sucked into that the other day. It was something. What even was it?
What it was about doesn't matter.
Oh, I know what it was. It was the ice. The ice guy that killed the Renee Good in the car.
Right.
The post was that he's going to get off scot-free.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, this is a reference. This is a mandate, people. Like,
yeah, but they always have, again, they have qualified immunity, which is a huge thing that a lot of people think they should be responsible. They should be trained. They should be responsible.
He should have never
for
been
their
on
actions.
duty because he had already been hit.
Exactly.
And should have been taken off. He should never have even been in the situation.
He kind of had some PTSD going on in that moment.
But the incident aside, this post said that, and I went looking for people going, wait, what, oh my God, outrage. No. Every single post was like, right on, justice served. That's the way it should be. He was right.
And those were bots?
I had to have been.
Wow.
Had to have been. There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way that there was universally agreeing.
Well, and that just, again, kind of like proves my point.
And some of them were identical.
Oh, yeah. You see some repetitive stuff. But that, again, is why normally I'm not going to comment on strangers, type of stuff. It's just like, it's just not worth it. Okay, so let's see. Kel, you're still an online bully, right? Okay. And so talk about how, again, the pylons, the dogpiling, virtue signaling, selective outrage, those things are actually a term, social currency. Social currency. Right? Now, I've always thought about social currency as if, say, somebody goes and checks out your LinkedIn profile, or a page that you have, that kind of exemplifies you as some sort of authority or expert about something, right? And so social currency in regards to like the online bullying, I just can't kind of grasp that.
Here's what it is. It's the social currency is it's not so much the exchange between people. The social currency is the benefit you get, what you feel from the expression. That's the social. It's you get
so
paid.
It's not the currency. So
it's not currency of exchange.
Own currency,
like
right?
Yeah, like we use money as currency or whatever. It's not about so much the currency of exchange, although that does play a factor. But I think it's primarily the quote unquote payoff you get from the feeling or whatever
right.
However you.
So comment on this. So these guardrails here, strategies, right? Don't argue with mobs.
Yeah.
Don't argue with mobs.
Just
What would you define as a mob? Like 3 people that you don't know?
Yeah, could
something like that.
I would say 3, 4.
I wouldn't mind 1 or 2 randoms.
Yeah, I mean, 2 people you can change some minds, maybe even 3. Any more than 3, I think you
do it with respect.
Of course.
Just start things as like, hey, with all due respect, I thought this or blah blah blah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, but don't argue with mobs. Okay, so another guardrail: document, block, report, and disengage. Do you do that stuff?
I do.
If somebody gets out of control,
Absolutely. I rarely have to block anybody.
I think in all the time, I can remember my first one. I was like, oh man, I'm really doing this. I was trying to get through this without having to block people.
Yeah.
She just went nuts. Again, once the name
Most
calling,
people can't argue with
once
me.
the name calling starts, kind of lose me. I'm just like, I don't need this person.
Exactly.
You're a friend. Why would a person like this be on my friends list?
Right.
Has my bar loyal? So
that's a good point.
If it's work related, as far as guardrails, keep receipts.
Yes, always. People with emails. There are multiple relationships in which you should keep receipts.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. Sabotage, withholding info, workplace bullying. We're still on workplace bullying. Sabotage, withholding info, stealing credit. Somebody else, somebody. A classic is somebody that's a subordinate of yours. They go above and beyond to do something, and you don't give them credit. You take credit for it.
I can't imagine that. But
it happens all the time.
I absolutely. I can't imagine doing that to someone.
Right.
I mean, I bend over to give away credit. Like things I do, I will give to other people.
I love doing that.
I couldn't have done it if it weren't for, I cannot fathom.
But it happens all the time.
People
too much.
That doesn't happen to me because I correct it.
Now, humiliation in meetings, we talked about that. Leveraging authority. What does scheduling punishments mean under workplace bullying?
Maybe reviews, employee reviews. Or
what was those,
performance improvement plan.
The report on that
TPS reports.
TPS reports, yes. That was a good one. That was a good one. HR realities. What helps versus what doesn't? What do you think? In regards to bullying. You don't want to be a whiner, crybaby, rat,
and it won't help you.
Like
a lot of times, if you the tattletale is the one that gets in trouble in corporate because you're seen as the problem, and all HR does is protect the company from liability.
Especially
so they're going to look at the legality of it.
Especially somebody with tenure.
Yes. So if there is somebody being bullied, the company is going to look, where is there the most liability? Where at what inflection point can this get legal for us, and who's going to cause it? And they'll eliminate whatever the cause might be.
For the first excuse too, for sure. Response tools to bullying is when you're talking to them is to name the behavior calmly, right? You don't want to be aggressively confronting somebody, right? That's not the way to do it.
No, it's
do it calm.
Sure.
Yep, absolutely. Move the conversations to writing.
Yes.
When needed.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Because
especially in a corporate environment.
It's a great strategy because sometimes when you're in a conversation, debate, difference of opinion types of things that you want to say, and maybe things you need to hear, everybody's distracted by making the point of
the
view.
moment.
responding and things like that. Whereas when you're writing,
clarity,
and subsequent person is reading, they can't argue with the letter. There's nobody to talk back to them,
right?
And so it forces
and it can help
them
with clarity
to hear what you're trying to say.
Sure.
So that's a great strategy right there. I want you guys.
I used to do that to my
down.
narc ex. I used to have to send him these epic texts because I couldn't speak to him.
Another response tool is to find allies, not mobs. Right.
Yes.
That's a nice distinction. I think is to.
And strategic allies are better than mobs.
Because an ally, right, still has kind of like their job to do and their priorities and stuff like that. So you having an ally, just like the word depicts, having an alignment, right? So you probably want to ask their opinion on the behavior. And if they're just like, oh, no, that's not cool, right? So now you have an ally. But you don't need to be putting together 10 allies.
But you want an ally, not a yes man. There's a difference. Because a lot of times people can think yes people are allies and they're not.
Yeah. But the point is that you don't have to get together, get an ally, but you don't need a mob.
No, I much prefer a strategic ally to numbers.
And let's see, escalate with specifics, not emotions, right? So make sure that you have your information, kind of like your case. And a relationship social bullying, right? So jealousy bullying is controlling, isolating type of behaviors. Friend group bullying I was thinking, does fantasy football qualify for this? Because you can have a friend group bullying.
It could.
Yeah, sometimes like the guy that gets last place, you have to like dress up as a drag queen and walk down 2nd Street or something like that.
I wouldn't call that bullying. You agree that that's the consequence.
That's right.
But that can be a scene of bullying. You can get people that are, if they're not doing as well or whatever, they can start talking shit.
And it's a loyalty test too. Because like if you lose and then you say, I ain't doing that.
Right.
Then it's just
I'm going to take my ball and go home.
Kick him out. Kick him out. Because we all took the same risk. So I'd be, now that's where I would get a mob together. Fantasy football.
Sure. That would be appropriate.
Because it's fun.
Because that's what you do. That fosters that kind of energy.
Exactly.
In most other situations, strategic allies are much better.
Absolutely. All right. So now what about family bullying, whereas the family uses tradition as a weapon?
Yes.
See, I told you I'm gonna break open the geodes today on some things. It's not just getting beat up.
Weaponized holidays, weaponized celebrations.
So throw some examples out there. I saw you smile and being
so many. Like even, I had no family. It was mom, dad, me. But every other year we would flip flop with the grandparents, grandma Rush and Grammy and Papa when I was little, and then Papa died. But we would do one, then the other. Like one year we would do Thanksgiving at one of the places and Christmas at the other. And it would get contentious sometimes.
What, with the location?
As which one we were going to go to that year, because we ended up doing it. They were both far away. Erie was 8 hours. Hollidaysburg was 5.
No wonder.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing.
So it was a thing, and we didn't fly. So it got to the point where as I got older and everybody got busier, we had to narrow it down to one holiday, and it was every other year.
Right.
And Dad's mom would bitch.
Yeah.
She would cause problems every time it wasn't her year.
And of course, there's other
fuck about us. She didn't want to see us.
Examples. So many, examples where there's birthdays, Christmas,
any of
Thanksgiving.
There's so many different ways it happens too.
Yeah, for sure. So, what's the verdict? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Okay. Most bullies are insecure.
Yes. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up or thumbs down? Ignoring bullies always works.
No.
Thumbs down. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Bystanders are more important than bullies.
They can be. That's interesting because bystanders have the ability to interrupt, to intervene. And how many times do we see these photo mobs or these video mobs where somebody's getting their shit beat out of them or killed or hurt or robbed or whatever, and people are just standing there with their phones.
Exactly.
Nobody's helping. Nobody's intervening.
That drives me crazy.
I just don't get that. And there's this thing now too, where I don't know if you know about this. Women have a signal, and like if they're with a guy, if a woman is ever with a guy and she like taps you, and then you see her do this behind her back with her fingers.
I've seen that.
They're in trouble.
They're in trouble.
And there are so many videos out there where women do it to men and they just walk right on by, but women will stop and go get them.
Yeah, for sure. Or maybe they don't know. Could be oblivious to it. Okay, so what's the verdict?
Still, if some woman, like, she's walking looking like she's with her boyfriend and she like does this to you, would you not? I mean, whether she does the finger signal or not, would you not like
see the concern in their face? Under that you think that that
sometimes they can't show it. Sometimes they can't show it, and they're doing a good job of keeping the appearance. Yeah. If somebody ever did that to me, I would just turn right to them.
Be alert out there. So what's the verdict? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Online bullying is not real bullying.
Bullshit. Just because you don't know who's doing it to you doesn't mean you won't feel pain. For the most part, it should be ignorable. But no, absolutely. I mean, say there are a lot of sensitive groups out there. There's, like I'm in some neurodivergence groups, and sometimes somebody will post a genuine question, maybe not worded the best way or whatever. And even in those groups, some people will start flaming.
Yeah.
And others of us will say, hey, situational awareness, folks, do you know what group you're in? Like, let's help each other out here.
Yeah, exactly. All right. What's the verdict? Roasting is fine if everyone laughs.
No, I'm not going to necessarily agree with that one either.
Yeah.
If it's a known roast, I mean, if you're, that's definitely not bullying. But if it's just somebody suddenly starts busting on somebody and everybody else starts busting in, no.
Yeah, like time and circumstance.
Time,
right?
place, and circumstance.
Okay, what's the verdict? Workplace bullying is mostly a leadership failure.
I agree.
You got to know what your people are doing.
Mm-hmm. Intervene.
You can't get in their business too much, but
no, it's not about getting in their business.
Workplace is different. All right, what's the verdict? Some people only stop after consequences hit.
Oh, no question. Most people only stop after consequences hit, and some not even then. That boggles my mind.
I love it.
When people have like distinct consequences and they continue, regardless of what it is, bullying, anything.
Now, Kel, let's talk about some tools. We have a little bit, kind of subtly, in order to, regards to bullying, how to recognize it, avoid becoming it, and then certainly stop enabling it if it's something that's happening to you. So matters of fact, Kel. Okay, so let's go. What do you think? Matters of fact. Is this true or not? Bullying spreads when it's rewarded.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Matter of fact, groups normalize behavior quickly. Like an example would be, that's just how it is here. It's just how it is. So they as a group, they normalize the behavior. Even somebody's saying, that's not kind of like the way we should do things. Right. That's just the way it is.
I just had this conversation yesterday. When I used to work in corporate, I was usually a consultant. So I was coming in third party, looking at a situation, doing analysis, and I would ask people, why are you doing this? Or why is this, whatever. And two things you never say to, or I would ask somebody to do something for me or with me or about whatever. Two things you never say to me if you don't want my wrath is, that's the way it's always been done and not my job. Say.
Right.
And I would get that so often.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it may not be like outlined in your job description, but you're capable and it needs to be done. And why would you not?
Right.
You work here, right?
Yeah.
I don't get that attitude. I just don't.
I understand. So matters of fact, stress and insecurity increase aggression.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Not for everybody, but for most people, for sure. Matters of fact, accountability and clear boundaries reduce recurrence of bullying.
Yes.
All right. So what do you think about this anti-bullying toolkit? Okay. How to avoid becoming a bully. Watch out for using humor as a weapon. I can relate to that. I can, because I like making people smile. But again, from my spouse, poor lady. So one of the things that was shared is sometimes where I think, or we as men think, we're being funny and we're just tossing out this pebble. The pebble is received as a boulder, right? And I was like, wow. Because again, it's good to know because you don't intentionally, so the point is watch out.
And we are taught
using a humor as a weapon.
Absolutely. Be very situational with that. Yeah. And we as women are taught to laugh things off and just take it and just tolerate it and, be the cool chick or be the good girl or whatever. And we get conditioned not to say anything and not to fight back.
Yeah, For sure. Another anti-bullying tool is don't punch down.
Yes.
Like seriously,
Right.
don't punch down.
Don't punch down.
Don't take
Just don't.
things that are teed up for you.
No, it's not.
Kind of like, again, if somebody kind of is a little bit, if you're comfortable enough, again, so status and power matters, right? And so somebody has a kind of higher status. I do this all the time. People they have a higher status, and I'm not joking around with them to knock them down a peg as much as just acknowledging, just like, hey, you put your pants on the same way
Exactly. I do that too.
And
I do that too.
When I grew
when
up,
you've met the caliber of people I know in this world.
Yeah. I didn't care when I was growing up. If you're a friend in the neighborhood, I didn't care how much money your parents made or what they did or anything like that. If you're a part of the group, you're open to it, right? And so that's an important, I think, there as I got these together.
I actually learned that being a woman, it's different as a woman. Being a woman, it can get you respect.
Mm-hmm. Joking around, yeah.
Being one of the guys, like
for sure,
but punching above your weight or cutting somebody down a little bit.
Because here's what happens.
For his britches.
Here's what happens. Most of my female friends, the reason that we became so close wasn't anything sexual, but I knew, just like, they have their carnal desires and stuff like that. And so when they would do or say something stupid, I would let them know how guys think.
Sure. And I appreciate that.
I would ask the same with them. Like, if I'm stepping out of bounds, man, like, don't, help me out. Or sometimes I would ask them questions. So it was a community, like, unfiltered. Like, I would give them the shit too. I mean, I would give them the best advice of, here's what he's thinking. Like, hey, he's going to say whatever he wants to say because you're attractive. He wants to get in your pants and stuff like that. And so, of course, it's up to you, to how long you want to kind of hold out.
And the interesting thing we're finding now is online, women will make these posts about how we feel about certain things, and men will fucking argue with us. No, you don't. Women don't feel that way. Women are this. Women do that. Women, this is what happened. Like, excuse me, sir.
See, they're going about it wrong by making statements instead of asking questions.
Exactly.
Right. Even if they feel a certain way, just like you can say, I always thought about, like this. Am I wrong? Where do I get it wrong? And stuff like that. So, so you guys, again, should be taking notes here. So how to avoid becoming a bully: apologize cleanly when you cross the line. We talked about owning it and all kinds of different topics that we've discussed. That goes so far. Just admitting that you're wrong, or if you offend somebody, just sincerely apologizing and things like that. And not everybody could do that. Another way to avoid becoming a bully is ask yourself, am I trying to help or trying to dominate?
Yeah. What's my goal here? Like
because sometimes you do have to assert authority depending on which situation is and stuff like that, but doing it appropriately, doing it with respect. And, I always let people kind of hang themselves, so to speak. That's always been my MO. Okay, how to stop being part of bullying from a bystander tool. When I was reading this, I guess, again, I don't want to offend anybody, but my most, I think, glaring example that came to mind is that how to stop being part of bullying is don't laugh along, right? So it's kind of like, it's kind of like, again, like if I was ever in a situation and if somebody, for example, like use the N-word, right? And if they said it in a joke, and this person wasn't of color, I say, that's not funny. You see what I'm saying? That's not funny. And so, just don't laugh along if somebody's being bullying. If somebody is bullying somebody else, don't laugh along. Change the subject if you can. Change the subject, interrupt the pattern, that's going on.
Yep.
If somebody's picking on somebody else and just like, man, you must be hangry, Brad. Let me go get you a burger. Just like, man, stop picking on him. He's cool. Something like that. Just kind of break the ice. And then that again is an interrupter, right? They're going to
stop that interruption.
Not everybody agrees with what I'm doing.
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So they're in the public square real quick. How to stop being part of a bully is to check in privately with the target, right? Somebody being bullied and just real quick, hey, Tommy, you okay? You got this handled, type of thing. You okay? And just like, oh yeah, man, he's just being a jerk, type of thing. So check in privately with the target. set a boundary. Like we said, hey man, that's not cool. Let's keep it respectful. That's super simple. And again, use a private correction when doing it in public. This person, and if you try to dress them down right there, it's just going to escalate everything,
Or make you the target.
There's been some times, where again, like you're in a public space and it may look a little weird, actually get in your friend's ear, just like, hey, what's the code word when you're supposed to stop? I can't remember right now, but you need to stop.
What's your safe word? Yeah. What do we say? Popcorn?
Yeah, exactly. Something. So now, how to handle a bully without feeding them, right? Work related, keep calm, keep records. We talked about that. Try short responses, no emotional fuel. Again, any kind of physical confrontation now that I may find myself in, can't imagine why I would put myself in that position.
I can't imagine.
My probably comeback is just like, hey man, obviously at the age I'm at, you can kill me, kick my ass, dominate me or whatever. But I have made a commitment to my wife that I do not get into any physical fights anymore, because she lets me know what our deductible is when I go to the hospital and then so
you're just not worth it, bud.
How's he going to beat me up? So short responses, no emotional fuel when you're dealing with a bully, right? But enforce boundaries consistently. Now, if it's just me, that's one thing. But again, if you're, it's just my job. I mean, I'll die for my wife. I will. Somebody.
Yep.
I mean, if that's where I go, coward dies 1,000 deaths, right?
Yes.
Hero only dies once. So boundaries consistently. Choose exits, right? If a bully's there, choose an exit. Report any kind of environment that celebrates cruelty. Get out of there. Okay. Now, real quick, any of you listeners that are on right now. So we tried to put these little listener challenges in. And so for the next 7 days, and I want you to kind of start identifying moments that you could join in when somebody, it doesn't have to be extreme bullying, but it's just like, oh, they're kind of picking on them a little bit. And so identify that and choose not to. Right. Mm-hmm. So a little self-restraint, if you recognize that, and then do one small act of support for somebody that's getting targeted. It doesn't have to be in the moment, but if you know them, a little phone call, just like,
that's powerful.
Hey, oh yeah.
That's really powerful.
So,
because anybody who's being bullied feels small. I don't care who you are, what the situation is. You feel smaller than the person, who's doing it. And if somebody else can come in the back end and go, hey, I saw that and it was fucked up. That was wrong.
Exactly.
Do you need anything? Are you okay? Can you, but absolutely. And I think that alone could make them just get over the whole incident.
Exactly. Well, episode 44 on bullying. Can you think of anything else salient that you want to kind of end with? Anything remind you? You want to talk about process?
No, I think we pretty much covered it.
Okay. Well, I like it. Oh, now that's our current music. I had to break that out for Kathleen there. I don't know if she was listening to the show, back when we had that.
The original.
Yeah.
That was cool.
That's cool that you kind of remember it, though.
Of course.
Yeah. So, hey, out there, you guys, thanks for listening to episode 44 of What's the Matter podcast show. So today we unpacked bullies, where bullying comes from, why it happens, how it shows up in schools and workplaces, and how it evolves online in ways people don't always recognize. And most importantly, we talk tools, not fools, tools. How to spot bullying early, how to avoid becoming it, and how to stop enabling it. Most importantly, probably, how to protect yourself without escalating the damage, right? So a big thank you to World Matters Incorporated, allowing us to broadcast here from the Matterhorn studio, and of course the creator and producer of the show, Big Bongo Productions. And since she's on the line, let's give a little shout out to Kathleen again with Just in Time Tux, our guest from last week. And we'll be talking and visiting with her, probably over the next few weeks. I got some things in mind with her. Help her out. Do some team stuff. Kathleen, you have a good night. And we'll be back next Wednesday at the same time, same location, here in the Matterhorn studio, episode 45. What's the matter with copycats? Talk about role models, influence, imitation, from learning the basics by copying great people to the danger of copying so long you forget who you are. When is copying smart? That's what it basically is. So until then, Be vigilant, be kind. Always remember that what you say matters. This is the G-Man for Kel. See ya.